maybe the most interesting game of this weekend. And a lot of people are going to point to the Monday nighter in trying to decipher how good San Francisco and Seattle are. And maybe even people are going to point to Minnesota and Dallas to see if the Vikings can get their first primetime win against an elite opponent. And some people may even point to Pittsburgh and the Rams to see if we find out how good the Steelers are. But for me, the most interesting game this weekend is the Carolina Panthers heading to Green Bay to take on the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is because the Panthers are coming off a huge win against a team that is in a very similar place to them in the league in terms of very middling and average.
Mm-hmm.
And the Packers are coming off maybe the worst performance of an elite team we've seen this season. And I'm very curious to see how each team responds. And I think we're going to learn a lot about both teams here because for the Panthers, I mean, every time they've played against a good team this year, they've lost. They haven't really beat anyone good this year. And for the Packers, they can't really afford to lose another game just with the like right now. Eventually they may have to and finish with 13, but if they lose now, it'll seem like 12-4 is best case scenario, and that's not going to get them the bye that you really want if you're the Packers and their fan base, because you want the Niners and Saints and whoever comes out of those sides to come to Lambeau Field. And yeah, they can't lose this game. This is a huge game for both teams.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Of course, the Packers coming off a tough week last week. They've been a surprise team for me this season. I think they'll keep it up. And Kyle Allen, is it the quarterback in?
So many of them, it's so hard to tell.
Yeah, there's a bunch of Allens in the league, so you get the names mixed up quite often. But Carolina's looking good. They're ran by Christian McCaffrey. Everybody kind of knows that at this point. So it'll be interesting to see if the Packers defense, which has been having a good year, can shut them down. I think they can. Maybe not shut them down, but limit it. And yeah, I think the Packers win this one, but I think it's a close game, and it's a genuinely exciting game because it matters for both teams quite a lot.
My lean is Packers in this game, and I think it's going to be Packers by a pretty decent margin.
Mm-hmm.
The thing with Carolina is somebody's going to figure out how to stop McCaffrey. Like I refuse to accept that a team that has one major weapon will get to week 9, 10, 11, 12, and people still can't figure it out. Like I just refuse for that to be an actual thing that's going to happen in the NFL this year. So that's partially why. And then the other thing is too, there's an old saying in the NFL that teams that get embarrassed, you bet on them the next week because everyone's going to pile on to them all week and tell them how much they suck, how bad they are, how disappointing they are. And I think for a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who already is motivated enough to hear all week about how he sucked against the Chargers and how he cost them the game and how they lost to a crappy team and how they lost to in a game where all those fans were there. Like the stadium was like 85% fans. It was basically a home game. Like all those things, Aaron Rodgers has been hearing about that all week. And now he just gets to go out there and play against the Panthers defense, which mind you has been really good this year. The Panthers defense is the hidden story for why this team's actually good. Part of it is McCaffrey. He's a huge part of it, obviously. But the real reason the Panthers have been really good this year is because of that defense. And but even still, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to come have one of those Aaron Rodgers games, basically. One of those games where you're like, oh, that's Aaron Rodgers. That's who's the quarterback of the Packers. Like the one he had against the Raiders a couple weeks ago. We're like, okay, this guy's a little different. This game's also huge too for the MVP race because in the underlying MVP discussion, although Russell and Deshaun and even maybe Lamar are ahead of these two guys, in McCaffrey and Rodgers, a big win here could do a lot for both of their MVP cases. So there's a lot to play for this week in Lambeau Field. Let's